Amanda lies covered in blood. Her daughter, Sarah, calls out to her from nearby. Strange as it may seem, Sarah stands there expressionless, even after seeing her mother in that condition. She looks at something beside her before facing her mother again. Another woman is sleeping when she is woken up by the sound of the door cracking open. She goes to check and, after locking the main door, comes back to bed. As soon as she lies down, the door of her room opens on its own, and her blood-curdling scream is the last time her voice is heard. Her body is found on a tree, with her eyes gouged out. Amanda is a grieving mother. She is in the doctor's office for her counseling. Dr. Fisher asks her some question and jots down the significant points, while Amanda tells her that after losing her daughter Sarah, she has stopped praying and has started to think more about our ultimate destination. Amanda and her husband, Jack, are moving house. Jack thinks this change will help them cope better. Amanda acts distant from her husband and drifts into her own thoughts about Sarah. Once they reach the new place, Amanda remarks that the place is different than she expected. The building seems to be a little run down and requires touch-ups, but everything else seems fine. Amanda is surprised to see the furniture inside the house, but Jack likes it, much to Amanda's displeasure, who is not comfortable using someone else's furniture. But Jack is able to convince her to start a new life at this new house. Though still a little skeptical, she decides to give the change a chance. In the evening, Amanda looks at herself in the mirror with a bewildered expression. She was not expecting to be a mother again, especially after Sarah was gone. Jack unwraps the photographs and stops at the family portrait. He misses his daughter, but he has to be strong for his wife. He decides to put only Amanda and his pictures on display, and puts away the ones with Sarah's picture. At night, sleep eludes Amanda and Jack. Jack turns towards Amanda and reassures her that they will be happy there. Amanda believes him, and he comforts her with a romantic gesture. He wants her to know how much he loves her. She reciprocates for some time, but then something overtakes her, and she bites his lip a little too hard, making him wince in pain. He gets out of the bed and assesses the damage. Amanda is equally shaken by what just happened and apologizes to him. Jack goes to the washroom and spits blood. The bleeding won't stop for some time. The couple has gone to bed. At 2:22, Amanda wakes up and gets out of the bed. She walks towards her door and then makes her way to the main door. Just outside their house, she sees a girl with a bloodied white dress, and she follows her into the woods. Even though Amanda's eyes seem to be open, she is not conscious, but in a somnambulistic state. After reaching the middle of the woods, she suddenly comes out of the trance. Finding herself in the middle of nowhere, she panics and calls out to Jack. But she suddenly stops when she spots Sarah standing nearby. Sarah looks at her and then runs away. Amanda tries following her, but someone grabs hold of her wrist, and when she turns, it is the most horrific distorted face with no eyes that sends chills down her spine. She screams at the top of her voice, and everything goes dark. Amanda wakes up with a start. She realizes she had a nightmare. The next morning there is someone at the door. Jack is busy, so he asks Amanda to get the door. Amanda hesitates before opening, as she is reminded of the night terror. She manages to open it, and a neighbor has come to welcome them to the neighborhood. She introduces herself as Dawn, and she has bought a gift basket as a welcome present. Jack joins in and talks to her nicely. Amanda, however, finds it odd that a neighbor who doesn't live nearby has come to welcome them. Jack invites Dawn for dinner at their place, and Dawn readily accepts his invitation. Once Jack goes inside, Amanda eyes Dawn from head to toe and advises her not to let Jack make her feel special, which is for her own good. Having had enough, Amanda closes the door in Dawn's face and walks inside to finish her cup of coffee, only to find the glass empty. Jack is grieving in his own way. He has distanced himself from smoking, even though there are times he wants to give in to his urges, but he decides against it. Amanda stands outside the house, looking at the woods for a long time, comprehending what she saw last night before she goes inside and has her medicine. But she regurgitates it. A series of strange events take her to the spare room, where she finds Sarah's pillow and the pictures that Jack had stacked away. The grief of losing a child is too much for Amanda, and she sobs as she remembers her daughter. She hears Sarah's voice asking her not to cry, as she turns to look at the door opening on its own. Scared out of her wits, she runs to get out of the room, but the door closes and locks by itself, and a girl whose face and clothes are covered in blood laughs from behind. An invisible force pulls Amanda from her feet, making her drop hard on the ground, and pulls her into the dark closet, while Amanda cries for help. Jack comes home with flowers for Amanda. He calls out to her, but she doesn't answer. He reaches the spare room and hears sobbing from the closet. When he opens the door, a terrified Amanda jumps into his arms, shivering and crying. He takes her out to sit at the table. Amanda is shaken by the incident, and Jack tries his best to get her to speak about what happened, but she won't talk. And when she finally speaks, she tells Jack she doesn't want to be there anymore, as something is wrong with the place. Jack loses his cool when Amanda tells him she saw Sarah. It leads to them arguing about Sarah being gone, and Amanda lashes out at Jack for being with someone else on the night she watched their daughter pass away. Jack had thought that if they scurried away to a different place, it would help them work on their threadbare relationship after Jack's cheating and their daughter's passing. Now seeing Amanda's meltdown, Jack holds her tight. He feels bad for leaving her when she needed him the most, and this is Jack's redemption. That night, Amanda wakes up and finds that Jack is not beside her. She walks outside and finds him sleeping on the couch, and above him, the same girl with bloodied face and dress stands over him. Amanda tries calling out to Jack, but he doesn't wake up, and suddenly her stomach starts hurting with a sharp pain. She cries in pain and reaches out for a knife several times to make the pain go away. She bleeds from her mouth and cries. Jack hears Amanda screaming and rushes to her aid. He calms her down and tells her it is a bad dream. Amanda starts acting neurotic and laughs and cries at the same time. In that state, she tells him she is pregnant. She laughs hysterically to the point it scares Jack. The stress of handling Amanda is too much for him, and he gives in to his urges and, that evening, goes out to drink and smoke. He's sitting at a bar when Dawn spots him and goes to sit with him. They have a drink together, and Jack tells her how marriage feels. In a moment's weakness, Jack and Dawn kiss each other and then apologize. It shouldn't have happened. Jack apologizes, too, and offers to drop her off at her place since it's late. Dawn agrees. Jack returns drunk after dropping Dawn off. Amanda waits for him in the living room. She holds Sarah's pillow and calls Jack to sit with her. No matter how much they pretend, the truth is, they have grown distant from each other. Amanda knows that even in this new place, nothing has changed between them, and she rightfully points out that nothing will ever change for them. They have gone past their repairing stage. However, she remains adamant when she says that something is wrong with the place. She doesn't know if she will truly be happy ever again, but she is willing to try since Jack has been trying to work on their relationship. Jack cries as she speaks. She moves closer to him and kisses him on his forehead. But for tonight, she doesn't want him to come with her to bed. He understands and says it is fine. She says she loves him before going to her bedroom. Jack sits on the couch and cries, feeling frustrated, guilty, and many such emotions. He drinks more, sitting on the porch, and overwhelmed with emotions. He carries all the things that are associated with Sarah outside and lights them on fire. He then goes to see Dawn and says he's not sorry for kissing her. He doesn't understand what is going on with him. All these years, he felt empty, and when she walked into his life, he felt an instant connection with her. Meanwhile, Amanda bears the pain as blood drips down her ankles. Jack continues explaining that from the moment he saw her, he couldn't get her out of his head, and she says she felt the same. Amanda bangs her head lightly on the wall, but then she does it with force as more blood runs down her legs. She sees the woman again, and sharp stabbing pain makes her shriek. She somehow gets back on her feet and walks towards the living room. Her vision distorts, and she hears constant noise coming from all directions. The figure that scared her the most appears right in front of her. The ghastly face screams, making a high-pitched sound. Amanda asks her what she wants, but the entity cups her face and screams in a shrill voice, making Amanda lose consciousness. Amanda finds herself in a crimson-washed room, and a woman sits in front of her. She turns back to look at her. Amanda watches Jack's infidelity, revealing she saw what happened on the night Sarah passed away. She was there in the woman's house. After giving in to their desires, Jack leaves her place and the woman prepares to sleep, but Amanda comes out of hiding and attacks her, gouging her eyes out and filling the quiet house with her screams. Jack wakes up beside Dawn and smiles on seeing her sleeping peacefully. He drives back home and sits in his car, contemplating what he's going to say to Amanda. He walks into the kitchen and is greeted by a cheerful Amanda. Jack is surprised at Amanda's overnight transformation. She serves him breakfast, but Jack cannot bring himself to act normal after what happened last night. He tries telling her, but she says she doesn't care where he was last night. He's here now, and that is enough for her. She soon leaves the table and sits on her bed, crying. Jack follows, and Amanda apologizes to him. She says she wants to be okay with everything, but it is hard. She feels guilty because Jack has been trying so hard. She almost says it as if mocking him. She continues that Jack has been so good to her. No one would have done that in his situation. She loves him and wants to be just like they used to. Amanda starts kissing him, and after some time, he gives in. Soon Jack's throat cuts open, and Amanda realizes she has a knife in her hand. His blood splatters all over her face and dress. Amanda had stopped taking her pills, and now her reality has become contorted. She drags Jack's body outside into the woods. Once she's exhausted, she sits down and remembers the day Sarah was very sick and coughing. In a flashback, Amanda sits beside her ailing daughter. Sarah asks for Jack, but Amanda couldn't tell her the truth, so she says he has something important to do. Amanda takes Sarah's hand and cries, only if she could take her pain away. She tells her how much she loves her. Sarah asks her not to cry. Amanda sings a lullaby as Sarah tries to sleep, and then she does the unthinkable. She takes Sarah's pillow from nearby. She then lets out a scream after Sarah is gone. Amanda comes back home and sits on the blood-covered bed when the closet door opens from behind and she sees the ghost again. This is the ghost of the woman whom she had eliminated. Amanda was sick and had lost her ability to distinguish between right and wrong. She took the lives of her only family and was haunted by the ghosts of her past. Jack failed to realize that his wife's problems were far more grave than he had imagined, and finally, he became a victim of her manic episodes.